You open the fridge, there's nothing there. So what's it gonna be? Greasy pizza? Sad drive-thru burgers? Dish by Blue Apron is for nights like that. These are the pre-made meals of your dreams. At least 20 grams of protein, no artificial flavors or colors, no chopping, no cleanup, no guilt. Keep the flavor, ditch the subscription. Get 20% off your first 2 orders with code APRON20. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
Okay, Daniel, we're talking a day after United drew with Spurs 2-2. It was a kind of entertaining, if somewhat chaotic game. You enjoy it?
It was a game out the 80s, really, or even before that. John Motson loved to bang on about how United Spurs games are always entertaining. And yeah, it was entertaining, but it was I'm beginning to lose my fucking patience kind of game as well.
Yeah.
And I think that is because it's now at the point where getting outplayed by a midfield of Skip, Højbjerg and Bentancur. Now, Bentancur is a good player, but the other two are fucking donkeys. And it shouldn't be that any United midfield gets dominated like that by them. And it also shouldn't be that Ten Hag needs to have every single last player in place in order to execute his vision, which we may or may not even know what it is, when Postecoglou is executing. We know exactly what he's trying to do, and he's doing it with whatever dickhead he has to play, mate.
Well, exactly, yeah. And now I was thinking exactly the same thing yesterday. What I couldn't understand is how he deployed the same fucking formation again. Manu sat there on his own, trying to run midfield on his own as everyone else runs around doing whatever the hell they like. So I was like, 2 classic goals United conceded. One, the set piece. Eric Ramsey, who's been in place for a couple of years now, should really be forced to explain what he does for a wage, because we're crap at scoring them and concede far too many. And then the other just sliced straight through our midfield like every other goal this season. Deeply frustrating, those 2 things were.
Yeah, and I don't know what he expected. Look at Eriksen on the second goal. But we know that he's a nice footballer. And in some games, he'll give you some control and some invention that is helpful. But you generally don't know which games they'll be. You definitely know which games they're not going to be. And that was one. I would never have thought that he would be a sensible pick against Postecoglou team, really. And what happens if Casemiro comes back, gets fit, and it's still happening? That with Casemiro, Manu, and Bruno, pretty much the only trio he's not tried yet. If that's rubbish as well, then what?
He's screwed.
I know Martinez will make it better, and the reason why I'm speaking quietly is I've just remembered my wife's asleep in the next room, and I'm under strict instructions to go and do this shit downstairs when that's the case. But I'm tired.
Don't worry, Dan. No one's going to see this, so she'll never find out. Yeah,
exactly. So, Martinez coming back will help. He's a good player, but again, having everyone there, you're sort of still, what you sort of had was, it felt like you got one manager getting the most out of his players and making them into a team, and the other one getting the least from a collection of individuals. And I thought about it, and I thought, well, Guardiola sort of needed everyone in place, but he was Guardiola, and Ten Hag is not that. And we knew I don't know, it's just, is it possible that this system doesn't work with these players? I don't know, this whole 3-2-5 and build-up thing, they're not good at moving the ball about. And they're worse players than them
United
are doing it better over and over again. We're getting outplayed
over and over again
by teams with players who we would not countenance at United and Bournemouth or whoever. And yes, there was injuries and all the rest of it, but it's a long way from good enough. But I guess at least we scored some goals, some good ones.
We've said it before that it's there's a kind of limit. There's a kind of ceiling to the patience you have with Ten Hag's inability to like execute on a vision. I mean, it's now well over 18 months since he took the job, and it'd be hard to conclusively say that you know what system he's trying to play because it's week to week, game to game. It's sort of a 4-3-2-1, but he's now changed it up. So we've got Rashford and Garnacho and Bruno as the three behind Højlund, and it's just a bunch of chaos merchants. And then when you get Eriksen there as well, whose inclination is to push forward and try and find space with the ball, then it kind of sort of potentially makes sense if you have a team which is going to concede possession, sit deep and try break. Sort of almost makes sense as Ollie ball. You'd probably want someone with a bit more nous around central midfield than Eriksen. But they did like neither one nor the other yesterday. They had players pushing forward into very attacking positions, leaving massive amounts of space through midfield. And yet at times they just conceded the ball and went for the diagonal quite often, actually, early in the game. And that was semi-successful, wasn't it? I mean, there wasn't any kind of defensive coherence, but semi-successful, getting it forward early and trying to play into space.
Yeah, and I felt like the goals were coming when they came, but I mean, I didn't expect us to not concede, and to come out and concede after 50 seconds or whatever it was in the second half. Just those kind of things. You're not making it was a good goal, but you're not making them force the opportunity, really. It just shouldn't happen. And things like that happen so fucking much. And it's been going on for so long, and it is that strolling through the midfield. And sometimes you feel like, well, the way it's quite technical. So the midfielders are moving to create space, to take the balls from fullback, blah, blah. But this is just really basic unathleticism, not following runners. And what do you expect? And with this midfield I was talking about, Casemiro, Mainu, Bruno, like, we'd sell Casemiro this month if we got a good enough offer. And yet at the same time, we're relying on him. And even when we play quite well, how many hidings have we handed out under Ten Hag? I think almost none. It's so laboured. Have we went with our score more than 3 times?
I don't know. We got a few in the Champions League. Not more than 3 though. There were 3 at Bayern, 3 against Copenhagen.
Yeah, but what have we scored? We haven't scored more than 3 this season, have we?
No, I don't think so. No, I mean, and it used to happen regularly under Ollie. And we all kind of suspected that there was a limitation to how far Ollie ball could go, and it took United to second place, no real title challenge. And I think we expected with Ten Hag there would be an evolution from that, and there definitely hasn't been. And it feels now that we're waiting for all these players to come back, and if it doesn't function then, I would not expect Ten Hag to last beyond the summer. He's going to last to the summer. They're going to do their audit. They're going to put the structures in place. The last thing that should happen is the manager underneath this new partial ownership group, and the new sporting director or whatever they get called, and new recruitment person. Then they'll think about the manager, and it's I think the way it should be in a modern club, which United are far from being. And so he's safe for now, but it's going to take a big turnaround, isn't it? Like, imagine United lose another, 14 games before New Year? Imagine we lose. Well, we probably can't because we're out of all the fucking competitions now, so we can't lose another 14. But I suppose we could if we really tried hard. But imagine we lose another 8 or 9 at the end of this season. We will finish outside all European places, and Ten Hag will be gone in the summer, and probably rightly so.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it needs to be good between now and the end of the season, and the solution at the end of the season can't just be buy me better players. Because it is fair to say buy me better players, but you've got to earn the right to manage those better players by making the ones that you have good into a good team. And if he gets everyone back and they start settling and they start playing the football that he wants and they groove his style and he's got midweeks to coach and all the rest of that bullshit, then fair enough. But Brailsford, I heard talking about, he was on NASA, being interviewed by Nasser Hussein. Was it? Well, anyway, he's talking about the England cricket team, and the way that they were playing and running towards the day, whatever, running towards the danger. I mean, he didn't use that particular buzz phrase, but something like it. And I couldn't help but think the massive difference between England cricket team and United, apart from like quality, is charismatic leadership. Like if Brendan McCullum tells you to do something, or if Ben Stokes tells you to do something and says it's a good idea and then does it, you're like, yeah, fuck yeah. And if Erik tells you to do something, you have less. It's just going to be less compelling, and it feels like sometimes you watch United play, particularly in that second half, and you think, do you really believe in what you're doing? And it doesn't massively feel like they do. They don't play with that level of intensity at all. And that was one of the things, like in the second half, like obviously the imprecision's fucking annoying and all the rest of it, but as much as anything, they got a bit better really towards the end, but it didn't feel like they were really going for the win in the way that they should have. Like they weren't attacking the win.
No. There were some good things that came out of this. Rasmus Højlund scored a great goal after 3 minutes. I mean, he's going to take a lot of confidence from that finish. And, I mean, nice layoff by Marcus, who was doing his best to run into a blind alley, as he did all game, basically. But it was a confident finish, wasn't it?
Oh, it was a brilliant finish. I think Rashford might have overtaken Ryan Giggs as the most frustrating player I've ever watched. Just so much ability that it can be sometimes really hard to understand why you were more brilliant more often. Obviously, Ryan Giggs was brilliant a lot. Did some amazing things. I'm not saying Ryan Giggs wasn't good footballer. I'm saying that watching him on his good days made his bad days hard to understand sometimes. My regret with Giggs would always be, I wish he'd have moved into midfield sooner. If he'd have moved into midfield at his peak, then he could have been insanely good. But I understand why you wouldn't do that, because where'd you find another left winger like Ryan Giggs? But if he'd have moved sort of after 99-ish, if he'd have moved into central midfield then, I think he'd have been incredible. But anyway, Rash just, he does so many good things, so many bad things. And I thought it was weird because he played quite well yesterday and also didn't play quite well at all.
In one respect, he really attacked the fullback, Pedro Porro. He looked to, both Porro and Tottenham left back, Udogie. Yeah, they moved inside frequently, and that's part of the reason why Spurs are so dominant in midfield, that they both moved inside, made the overload all of the time. If it wasn't both of them, it was one of them. They had an extra man, Spurs, all of the time. It was part of the reason why they were able to dominate the ball so much, but it did leave space, and Rashford attacked that space pretty well. I think the frustration came when he just ran straight at players and didn't pick the right choice too often.
There was one in particular that was very annoying.
Yeah, right.
There's that one in the second half where he gets away down the left. I think Bruno finds him. He's got Højlund in the middle, and he just totally blanks him. And it was just so unnecessary. But his goal was a lovely finish. His lovely finish against Forest as well, a few weeks ago. But it was a great finish. And that's the frustration. He's capable of that. United are better with him than without him. But if we're saying that Garnacho's a right winger now, and you're thinking, where am I spending the money? I'm probably thinking as much about a left winger as a right winger, if not more.
Yeah, that coming back to that conversation about give me the money and we'll get better with Ten Hag. The problem is some of the money he's previously spent is exactly where United need to improve. So Anthony is, I'm pretty confident at this point, never going to make it. And so I don't know what, you couldn't offload him to anyone, so he's in the squad for the foreseeable. We're going to need a replacement for Casemiro, and as you said, they would take some money if they were offered it by, I don't know, Saudi Pro League or something tomorrow. They'd take it because he's on massive wages. Varane wasn't his purchase, but he will need to be replaced as well at some point. Lassie is fine, squad player. Mount, we have no idea if he's any good or where he's going to play.
I think it's more that. I feel like I know the Mason Mount. I know the Mason Mount's a good player. I don't know what he's going to do for United.
Maybe he'll be the other option on the right wing. Maybe that's the best place to play him. I don't know.
But he assiduously refused to pick him there when he was fit.
Yeah,
he wouldn't pick him there. When he had a hole in that position, he didn't pick him there. So it seems unlikely.
He did not. So, yeah. So there were many frustrations. I mean, in a sense, there was the kind of kernel of something different that you're like, okay, well, United very deliberately, at least in the first half, tried to play a transitional game of football. They gave up possession and territory and tried to pick Spurs off, and it worked to a point, didn't it? They create space, they create some chances. Only 2 shots on target in the whole game, mind you. There were some opportunities, and perhaps United will rue not having won this game, even though they were definitely the second best side. We can talk about some of the details. Definitely going to regret Scott McTominay missing a header from 6 yards out in the final minute of injury time. Definitely going to regret that, given that Scott has one fucking job.
It was a real brainless header, that, where he just got excited and just tried to head it as hard as he possibly could. I tell you what else was funny, I found, was that there was a moment where United are attacking and Wan-Bissaka goes down the left. And it's just like, why? If you get the ball in that position, you can't do anything. The person on the ball knows if you get the ball in on that position, you can't do anything. And the opposition know that if you get the ball, you can't do anything. It's just, it made me laugh. Him and Dalo are both crap. I feel like I say every week. But they're not without virtue on occasion, but at the standard we're talking, they're crap. And another question I have, and this might be a technical question, I don't know, but when Richarlison scores from the header, as the cross comes in, the man on the far post, I can't remember who it is, moves across. And why would you do that? Why are you there? If not to get rid of whatever arrives.
Yeah, quite often you see the men on the post who then push out to make sure they're set for the recycled ball and potential offside. But then what's the point in having the man on the post? So, I don't know. It seems like United's weaknesses from... look, in one sense you can say it's just a good ball by Pedro Porro-in, and the Richarlison attacks it. And there's some truth to that. But
it was a good ball. It was a good header. Yeah. It was.
So there's good execution there. You can go, okay, fair enough. Man's there to protect that. Yeah, sure. Yeah. So.
And did you think it was penalty, like you doggy on Garnacho?
Yeah, I do, because the Højlund one was much softer than that. And then if you're just going to talk in the same game, Eriksen got penalised for one hand that looked to grab at get the Spurs play now, who went down as a free kick late in the game. And so it's just inconsistent application of what is a foul there. So I suppose Garnacho didn't help himself by falling forward, where really he should have just made a big fuss about being stopped. Because the player did, like, what are you doing? If you're going to grab the player with 2 hands, what are you trying to do? You're trying to impede them, right?
So here's what I don't get it. It felt like that anywhere else on the pitch is definitely a foul. The ref just gives it. But once you've watched it, how is it not a foul? And how are you not saying to the referee, you've got this one back? And again, I don't want the free goal for the... I'd like there to be something in the game that stops free goals for this kind of bullshit. But I don't understand. I don't understand why this is not a foul. When you grab someone by the waist with your arms around them, that's not allowed. And so what? I don't care if it were to be allowed in the game, but I'd want the laws to say there'll be a grey area which will allow the referee to interpret whether, in the context of the physicality we want in the game, even though this is against the rules, I'm prepared to push the boundaries to allow certain things. And if the laws said that, because that is sort of how the referees ref, they decide if they fancy giving a penalty in that particular situation.
I've read Law 12. I don't see anywhere in Law 12 that says there's a different interpretation of what a foul is inside the box or outside the box. It's the same law. So a foul is a foul is a foul, and referees are just making it up when they do. Funny thing is, Dermot Gallagher in the Sky Studio, he did the same thing. And I don't know, he's there just to defend referees. It's kind of pointless. He was like, there's not enough in this for me. He kind of defended the decision on its merits of that one thing, but not in the context.
Gary Neville said that as well. There's not enough in it for me. Like, it isn't exactly for you. It's that it's a foul. And I agree that there's not enough in it for you to want to hand a good chance of a goal, but it's a foul.
It's still a foul.
Yes. Yeah. I think there was one that I thought they maybe could have had, actually. I can't remember what happened now. That I also thought that might have been a foul in the box.
I think it was when Wan-Bissaka slided in and maybe caught the player, or maybe not. It was, yeah. I don't know. I find some of I don't want to get off on conspiracy theories about referees, but the inconsistency of it all is deeply frustrating for all fans of all teams. Like, we
it's not
want to see it
conspiracy.
all applied. Yeah, it's definitely not conspiracy. It's just inconsistency. And the other one that annoyed me in this game was when Wan-Bissaka got yellow carded for the follow through. The problem is the follow through only happens because the player, and it was Brennan Johnson, wasn't it? Like, moved across to put his leg in the way and protect the ball. And as a result of that, Wan-Bissaka fouled him. Funny thing is, Marcus Rashford a few weeks ago did the same thing, went to protect it, got sent off for it. So it's like, are we really like, we're judging outcomes, not inputs, right? So Wan-Bissaka took the ball cleanly and then the follow through because play got in the way. There was another sliding tackle in Van der Velde, which was an excellent tackle on Garnacho, who instead of getting hit by Van der Velde, jumped up and out of the way. And so is that now because the output didn't touch Garnacho? It's not a foul, even though he wasn't in control of the slide. You see how these things are like interpreted completely differently, but are we judging inputs or the outputs? And none of that is ever done consistently either.
Or really even discussed in the laws. I mean, I think that it's one of those where I think the output can matter sometimes. Like, if you really hurt someone, then that might be evidence that you were out of control or there was bad tackle and you need to be ready for that. But at the same time, we're trying to keep it as much of a contact sport as you can. And we accept the fact that if we have tackling, sometimes people are going to get hurt badly, but most of the time they're not. And so you're trying to find that balance between protecting people's livelihoods and not allowing people to be kicked out of the game with allowing challenges. And now it just feels like, I felt like previously I had a much better idea of what was going to be called and what wasn't going to be called. Whereas now it feels much harder to predict because it feels like the same referee could make a different decision in a different circumstances all the time and through the same game. And obviously VAR then is an extra factor in there because you like, when I saw the Garnacho one, I thought, how's VAR going to say that isn't a penalty? But so they didn't get involved. And there's that extra variable. But I do think that input and output can matter. It's more the total lack of clarity about what decision is going to be made, even when you're absolutely certain there's no ambiguity about what's happened.
Yeah, and there wasn't an ambiguity about the Garnacho one because he tried to foul him. He did foul him, and it impeded the player getting the ball. So, I don't know. I mean, normally when I stick two hands around someone, it's, I really like them, or I guess on the football pitch, it's just you're trying to impede someone. Anyway, whatever. It's very stupid and frustrating, all of it. And I suppose, since football was invented until it ends, we're always going to have this debate, aren't we? So, yeah.
But about this one in particular, I'm not frustrated we didn't get the penalty, really, because it felt like it wasn't worth a penalty, even though it was a penalty. It's more the frustration is just having no idea what's happening and what's going to happen. And then when it happens, why it happened.
Right. And they won't explain it. So,
yeah, I find that annoying. I don't even care that much about the accountability. Like, there's something that would feel a little bit right and also a little bit wrong about a show trial after every game where the ref has to say, I got this right and I got that wrong, like they're in school or whatever. I see both sides of that, and I guess I think I've probably said this before. Like I was kind of always in favour of players ragging referees because why wouldn't you? It seems like part of the fun of the game, just part of the show. Until I did a piece with grassroots refs and heard stories from female refs and not just women refs, but others about them getting battered by kids and their parents. And then also what happens in the Premier League clearly filters down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that just totally changed my opinion of this. Not changed my opinion, or sort of changed what I understood the reality had to be, and that is you don't allow it in the Premier League because, I mean, there's nowhere in the world that it's safer to start a ruckus than a Premier League football pitch, apart from an airport. Nothing will happen because there's a million cameras, and you can say what you want to who you want and do whatever you like, and more or less you're safe. But you're not safe in Sunday or Saturday football. And so I guess I did change my opinion about that, and that makes me think like refs having to perform these show trials after every error. I see why you wouldn't do that and what kind of precedent it sets, and just makes the whole thing even more fucking minging than it already is. With like, because then you happen to get the managers involved, you get the TV dickheads involved, and the whole thing just becomes even more of a crusade about tedious shit, and that's how we ended up with VAR in the first place. So I don't feel like I want to introduce that, although obviously I totally understand why seeing some idiot ref squirm would be entertaining and rewarding in some aspects. But yeah, I'd say on balance, I think on balance, I'm a no.
Yeah, I wonder whether there's a kind of safer way of doing it, some of it, because the VAR officials could well be anonymous, and I know they do actually release the names, but they could be anonymous, and we could hear that audio. Like, so
maybe Christian Eriksen was VAR in the first half yesterday.
Yeah. I suppose I'd like to, I mean, because they've only released a couple of pieces of audio where there's been particularly controversial incidents in order to, and pressure from clubs in order to do it. But if the fourth official had a look at it, like, no change, not a foul, fine, as long as they're consistent with all the decisions too, and that's not going to create any sort of filtering down of problems, because there is only VAR in the Premier League. And then I wouldn't mind seeing the PGMOL match assessments, because they do that. All right, and that's a bit of accountability. That would be all right. That's not promoting verbals against referees. That's just saying, hey, we're going to be transparent with the performance of our officials. So, and they don't do that. So, and I don't think the clubs even get to see that either.
I think I'd have to have. I'm just trying to think about what circumstance I would be prepared to read that in, and I don't think there is one.
You don't want to assessments of PGML officials, not up for that one, no. So
when I started at university, so there was 5 of us in my college doing my subject, and we go for our first meeting with our supervisor, the 5 of us, and on the way there we walked. So I was doing social and political science. It's not interesting, but anyway, I was doing but the reason why, so we did a paper in the first year in archaeology and anthropology. So we're walking to meet our supervisor in Arc and Anth, and we get there, and then then one of the girls in the group says, one of the 5 of us says, "Oh, on the way here," she was like posh Scottish, like her dad was high up in the Scottish police and borders or whatever, that kind of affair. She says, "On the way here, I noticed that we walked past the Arc and Anth Museum. Do you think perhaps on a rainy day we should go?" And the supervisor says no. So we're walking back, and I'm just making conversation. I guess my friend spoke. So I said, "Do you know how much it would be raining for me to go what a rainy day it would have to be for me to go to that Arc and Anth Museum? If it was raining in my room, I still wouldn't go." And didn't realise that she had taken umbrage. A few weeks later, United are in a new camp. I tell the different supervisor, that I've got a wedding because I'm going to Barcelona. I come back and he goes, "So Daniel, how's the wedding?" I said, "Oh, it was really beautiful. Thank you for asking." And then he goes, "Did it go to extra time? Because she grasped me."
Yeah.
as punishment. But anyway, if they're raining in my room, quip. But anyway, yeah, it would have to be raining very hard in my room, or the equivalent of, for me to read this Pigwell report, I think. But
All right.
I
I was rather hoping you'd start doing ref watch and you can do a minute by minute, like tracking the referees and their performance each game. Why Sky should do that. Ref cam. Why not? We can just have pure commentary just on the referee and their decisions, nothing else. That's it. In fact, why don't we just skip the football and go straight to the assessment of the referee performance? It'd be great.
Yeah, just hear their deep breaths. Could be quite erotic. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite ref? Yeah. If you had to liaise with one ref, who would it be?
None.
Andre Mariner?
Kalina. No, I don't like any of the Premier League refs. They're all arseholes. Probably Kalina. I mean, he seemed like he had a personality, maybe. But yeah, that's it, isn't it? We shouldn't us being sick and tired of referees and judging their performance and what was right and what was wrong hasn't become better in the VAR era. In fact, it's become worse. It didn't fix anything. So we're just going to still complain about referees every week and wonder why they can't be consistent. And it's because they're human and fallible. Just managed to get a couple of human and fallible things wrong yesterday, I reckon. So.
It's like, but it's just it's strange when the things that they get wrong, they have no excuse for getting wrong. And that was one, I would say. But yeah, I mean, I don't really care that they get things wrong. It's that sense of not having a clue what's going to happen that feels like a new thing.
All right, well, that was that 7th or 8th or something like that. I think 8 points behind 4th place now, which is looking pretty bleak. I can't imagine us pulling back that number of points. So it's not looking awesome for the rest of the season. So we do have a couple of weeks until the next game, which is... I saw Ten Hag afterwards asked about it, and he was asked whether this was good. And he said, well, for some who've played a lot of football, they need the rest. Some really need some games because they're just coming back. And that's true. So you've now got Martinez, who played 30 minutes or so. Casemiro didn't get on. Mount, I guess he'll have another couple of weeks closer to fitness, and Malacia too, perhaps, if he's ever going to be fit, and the same with Maguire.
It feels like you should have pretty much a full squad.
You'd expect so, since they binned off Reguilon. Yeah, so by the time we get back to our next game...
They're all crap, obviously, but there's quite a lot of competition, even for places on the bench now. As in, like, you feel like we've got a pretty good idea what the first team is. But for, like, it's quite a lot of competition for places on the bench now. And I don't know, maybe a bit of competition for places will help. I mean, I feel like Rashford felt like he put quite a lot more effort in yesterday. But I don't know. I mean, if it doesn't look like we're going to buy anyone this month, does it?
No, I mean, it'd be loans. So, yeah. I assume so. I mean, I don't have a calculation of United's FFP position, but let's just assume they're right against the ceiling because of the amount they spent over the last few years.
My sense is that they might try and be clever and overstating it a little bit, so that if they do try and get someone, then it's not. We've got loads of like with Peter Kenyon. If we were cash rich, suddenly everyone bugs 20 million quid on the prices. Yeah. Whatever dickhead we're trying to buy.
Yeah, and that's fine if they are overstating it. That's totally cool in order to get better deals. I mean, one deal we can talk about: Hannibal Mejbri has left. I mean, I guess Kobe Mainoo's rise has sort of paid to his opportunities in midfield. So he's left, gone to Sevilla for 20 million. Well, it's a loan with a 20 million option, a 35 million buyback clause. And I guess if Ten Hag doesn't seem like he really believes in him because he hasn't had an awful lot of opportunities. So if that's the case and that's the assessment of the club overall, then 20 million is a better fee than we've got for a lot of younger players that have left in recent times.
Yeah, I think that feels like a good deal for everyone, that one. As I said, I've said this for a couple of years now, I was always felt biased against. I wanted him to succeed. Just what I'd heard from inside the club made me think there's no way this guy's going to be good enough to play for United's first team, just because it would be impossible for the people that evaluated him to be that wrong. So yeah, I mean, I think that we played that European game, didn't he? Where he actually, the home games at Galatasaray, where it actually felt like he played okay in the first half, then he got hooped at half time and never seen again.
Yeah.
Clearly we have another manager who doesn't think he's good enough. So fair enough. Yeah, as non-football professionals, I feel like if two sets of United managers don't think he's good, worth keeping around, then that's probably right. He's probably isn't.
Yes, and there are very few have left the club in recent years where there's been a sort of lot of bleating on the internet about it that have actually done well. Yeah, the players who left in the summer for very low fees. I mean, Ted Mengi, you'd probably say right now he's worth more because he's had a good season at Luton, has stayed fit most of all, which has been his problem throughout his career. He's perhaps overperformed, but there's a sell-on clause there. And we don't know yet, really. And Zidane Iqbal can't get in the Utrecht side at the moment. And it's Utrecht he went to? Yeah,
oh my gosh, there was a lot of upset people on the internet when we sold him, wasn't there?
There really were.
And
he meant
that weren't happy.
A lot to... There are a lot of people who weren't happy. He's a youth product, and if we're going to sell them, I guess people would rather we were like Chelsea or City and get really good fees. But in order to do that, we're going to have to up the quality coming out of the academy and on a regular basis and get a good reputation again. So
you just have to be good. Also, if you're a good team, people want your cast-offs. Whereas people are thinking, well, if you're a United cast-off, imagine how shit you must be.
You can't be very good. Yeah. Well, quite.
Yeah, they've seen because
So anyway, that seems like a reasonable deal. Obviously, since we last spoke, the Sancho deal's gone through. He came off the bench, or did he start? No, he came off the bench, didn't he? And provided an assist for Marco Reus in his Dortmund re-debut. I think I made that word up. But yeah, fine for him. I mean, actually, with Mason Greenwood doing pretty well at Getafe, in a different position, he's sort of playing wide in a 4-4-2. It could well be that United will get half decent fees for both of these guys in the summer. If Sancho does well, he won't be going back to Dortmund because his wages are too big, but we'll see,
I mean, he's not going to stay at United, Sancho, past the summer. He's going to go somewhere, and he will then have to take a view about. He's not going to sit at United and not play. He's going to have to take a view about whether he want to go somewhere that they can pay his wages or take a wage cut. Probably he's not going to go to an equivalent club. I wouldn't imagine he's going down somewhere. So, I mean, it's one of those things with Sancho. Where on the one hand, if he does well, it's a bit embarrassing for Ten Hag, but on the other hand, it means more money in the bank for him when he gets sold in the summer. So,
yeah, that's right. And if he doesn't do well or has any kind of disciplinary issues, turns up late for training or any of that kind of nonsense, then unfortunately he's going to have that reputation that sticks. So unfortunate for him and for United. But this will be where the major amount of deals are done in the summer. Clearly, that's what they're waiting for the new structure.
They know they might have to fire Ten Hag, so they're not going to just say, "Well, who do you want?" And they might have ideas about who they want. I'm sure they will, but they probably won't feel that until they've done the proper audit of working out what they need and also a bit about who the manager is. I mean, and they don't seem to have appointed Paul Mitchell or Dan Ashworth or whoever. So it seems unlikely they're just going to allow Ten Hag 60 million quid to fritter on someone who might not be good.
It was reported this week that the audit the Brailsford-led audit will take 8 weeks. I don't know, we're counting from now or from a couple of weeks ago. We'll see. I mean, I think, honestly, you could learn an awful lot from asking one question, which is, what exactly was the process that allowed Anthony to come to United for 100 million euros? Explain it. And you'll probably uncover an awful lot of rotten culture just as a result of that one. But they're apparently going to go really deep. This is what everyone says Brailsford's brilliant at. Asking the right questions, putting the right people in place, getting down into the details. The team were at Old Trafford today, Monday, when we were recording. So obviously Ratcliffe was at the game at the weekend. So Ratcliffe, Brailsford, Jonkel Blanc, they were all there today, and they met with the Independent Manchester United Supporters Association and Must and the Fan Forum, which I think in one day is more communication than we've had from the Glazers in 18 years. And so, yeah. I mean, it's not hard to do, is it? It's not a lot of effort.
No, but also it's what Radcliffe wants to do. I mean, this is a vanity project.
Yeah.
It's ideal in that sense. I mean, he's not ideal, but the kind of owner you want is basically him. Like someone who supports United, I mean, not to whatever extent, I mean, but supports United, who just wants them to be good and wants to spend his money or allow the club to spend its money on making them good.
He said that he was asked, where does this rank in all the deals you've done? Because he's done a lot of deals over time. He's a private equity guy and then built Ineos by buying out toxic assets of other companies. He said, most exciting deal I've ever done. And you can and he was a bit of a kid in a sweet shop kind of response. But then I was thinking about it. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. If any of us got to buy part of United, it'd be the most exciting deal we've ever done. Then again, all the deals he's done, buying this polluting factory or that makes plastic pellets or, I don't know, a deal to refine oil coming out of some remote part of Saudi Arabia. And I was like, there's some real dirty shit here. It can't be that high. It can't be that high to get. Hard to get that high on the list of exciting deals when you're in that business. But maybe he just has the buzz off doing that. But anyway, I think you're right.
Yes.
Like the best in the situation, the best we could have got, and the deal, the minutiae of the deal is the best we could have got as well. And now it's all about the execution. Prove that this model of having a sort of separate football board and football management structure can work for United, and they can get these decisions right. And it's only a few months until we get to the summer, and we're going to see.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see that. That Brailsford is a good communicator. That he does have some thoughts about sport and how it works. And I've said before, I can't really get behind the whole British cycling thing, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't have some kind of guidance to impart. And I guess he's a big picture guy, like your main strategy guy who would employ other people to do the specialist football stuff that he doesn't know. So, I mean, we'll find out, but he definitely will have some insight into what is required to win at sport. And I mean, obviously asthma is helpful, but some other insights beyond that.
Very good. Well, no game at the weekend. United have got the week off. It's this kind of rolling winter break that they do in the Premier League. I guess Ten Hag will get him on the training pitch and flog them to death instead, which he likes to do apparently, or at least the ones that need the minutes. Hopefully no new injuries to touch every piece. Am I watching the training? No.
No, me watching Ten Hag flogging them to death.
Yeah, I mean, I'd pay for that, at least once.
Or at least 15 minutes from 12 till 12:15.
Yeah. We've got Villa next, West Ham next. I forget now who United's next game is. It's just going to look it up. It is Wolves. Wolves and then
Wolves
West Ham.
is midweek, isn't it? It's the Thursday. It's a Thursday night Wolves, isn't it?
It's the 1st of February, yeah. So about 10 days from here, which is very good. Like no excuse for tiredness. Then they should all be fresh.
No, but then it's match fitness.
There's match fitness that they won't have. Before we go,
yes,
a quick word on Andre Onana, who played in the United game and took a private jet, was supposed to fly directly into the town that the Cameroon were playing, which I forget, not Abidjan. His plane got directed to Abidjan because of bad weather, and so he missed the game and probably won't be very popular with Rydberg's song for that. But the most notable thing is the get-up that he was wearing, which was quite extraordinary. Suit and platform shoes. Just top quality stuff. Loved it.
He looked, I put a picture of it on Twitter. He looked like a building in Accra that has Sky Bar in it. So if anyone wants to Google Sky Bar Accra, look at my Twitter, you'll see that they are indeed very similar. It's just, they
are indeed very similar.
Clothes.
Yeah.
It's those clothes that you only really get away with wearing if you're a footballer. I mean, you'll also, like say you get away with them, you would only try wearing if you're a footballer almost.
I could not do it. I would, as I said to you, I think if I tried to wear that rig, I would be called a cunt 50 times before I got out of my neighbourhood. And that'd just be myself, because I just couldn't pull it off. No way. But hey, Andre did, and he looked good in it. And good luck to him for the rest of the tournament. Not the best result for Cameroon in their opening game against Guinea.
I mean, do we want him back or not? I don't.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. We don't know whether Bayindir is any good or not, do we? I mean, if Cameroon go out of the first game, he might not miss any Premier League games at all.
So I was watching Egypt yesterday, and I got on the one hand, I want them to lose because I want Salah to be unhappy. But on the other hand, I want him staying out there for as long as possible. So actually, do I want them to succeed? I mean, they should at least make the knockouts, I would imagine. So Cameroon probably should as well, even though they drew with Guinea. They'll beat, who did Senegal beat? The Gambia. They'll beat the Gambia.
I think if Egypt make the final and Salah misses the penalty to lose Egypt the tournament, that would be the perfect scenario for me, because he'd be staying out the whole length and then hopefully mentally destroyed after that.
Yeah, I will watch that if that happens.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, well, that's it. We'll catch up with you soon. We'll probably do a mailbag pod at some point during this lengthy break. Thanks for listening.
Please.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.